do? Well, Jonah, he got up and he told him the situation. So, he told him the situation. And they threw him overboard. And what did God do? God had a fish already waiting on him, did he not? Or some type of marine animal. You don't know what it was, but he had something waiting on him. And he stayed in the belly. Well, now, can you imagine being innocent in 3 days? And during that process of time, I'm pretty sure Jonah was rethinking his strategy. Jonah, first of all, he's in the belly of this big fish, and he's not dead. So now he got to stay here for 3 days and 3 nights. And after the third day and the third night was over, what did the big fish or whatever the marine animal did? He spewed him up. Yeah. But where did he spew him up?
He spewed him up on where the place where God wanted him to be.
Where God wanted him to be.
Instead of 1 day's 3-day journey, it was like a day's journey.
So God put Jonah where he wanted him to be.
Correct.
Now, isn't that amazing how God allow you to think you're doing what you wanted to do, but yet and still God puts you where he wants you to be.
Yes.
But it's the after realization. So when we talk about Jonah and its reality, we talk about reality. If you could just put yourself where he's at, Jonah didn't know where he was going. Jonah didn't know, and when they, like you said, threw him off the ship or whatnot. I don't think Jonah's mentality was, I don't want to go there and save the people. I just think that he had, his agenda was different. In the reality, it's like you're a fish, no light, smell, where am I? But there's a realization that you're in the belly of the whale, then being spit out there. Okay, where am I? And then time, this is where I am. Okay, and now he realized, okay, I can't get out of this. I can't. It's not like he can jump back on the ship and go wherever he wants. He realized, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. So I'll get you later.
Well, actually, I remember something. Jonah had a conversation with God before all this even took place.
Right.
So Jonah already knew what God wanted him to do, right? So therefore, he did not want to do what God wanted him to do. Right. So therefore, he knew that this was God that was doing this to him.
I don't know
Huh?
I
Well, if you ever get a chance and you want to read the story of Jonah,
God told him to go to Nineveh.
But see, you got to remember, like Mother Beezus is saying, God already told him God already told Jonah where he wanted him to go.
But when Jonah was negligent in that aspect, it was the after realization that, okay, I understand. This is what I'm supposed to be. So.
No. If you have a question, get it off your chest.
I just say sometimes it's the after effects that you realize what God brought you from. That's what joy says.
Well, but you got to remember something. In the story of Jonah, he already had a conversation with God. So God already he already know what God wanted him to do, right? Mm-hmm. So if he already know what God wanted him to do, and he chose to go opposite of where God wanted him to be, then that's showing you that he willfully was disobeying God. Right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is once the fish smoke is like being in the fish. That was the realization where he kept being inside the belly. That was the realization that, okay, this is why I'm here. That's when he came to the realization, or was it after the fact this fish put him where he was supposed to, where God wanted him to be at, and okay, so now this is where I am. All right. Because when you're in a fish, you don't know where you're going.
But first of all, now think about that for a second. Just think for a second now.
Right.
You had a talk with God about, and God wants you or commands you to go to Nineveh.
Right.
But you chose not to want to go to Nineveh. You want to go somewhere else because you wanted those people there to suffer. And then all of a sudden, you find yourself in a belly of a whale.
Right.
So now, what about that? And you're not dead. So that letting you know right there that there's something supernatural at play there, right? I mean, just think for a second. You in the belly of a whale and you're not dead? So that lets you know right there that you have to rethink your strategy. You have to like, wait a minute, something's not right here.
Okay, what am I thinking though? Okay,
Huh? Well, I went anywhere, so I can't tell you what he's thinking.
Something's not right, no doubt. Something is not right, something's this and that. But to say something's not right means like he didn't know he was going on.
He didn't know he was going where.
What God wanted him to be. He didn't know he was going on.
But he knew that something was supernatural happening, right? I mean, because he is in the belly of a whale and he's not dead. That's the key right there. You in the belly of something and you're not dead. And with the bear, and after being there for 3 days and 3 nights, then the whale spat him up. Because didn't Jesus speak on that? Just like the days of Jonah, that he was in the belly of a whale for 3 days and 3 nights. So I guess we can say it was a whale, because is that not what Jesus said?
Can I add something good?
Sure.
Go to the end of it. And the boy grew up in shade in it. And then Jonah was glad because it was hot. And then the boy died, and Jonah was upset. So God was reasoning with him. You're upset because of this gourd. You didn't plant it, you didn't water it, you didn't do anything for it to grow. Yet here's a city with over 3 million people, and you want to see them destroyed, but you didn't want to see this gourd destroyed. So God, what's your rationale, John? What's your rationale?
Did that help clarify a little bit for you, or?
You know, I mean, I was clear to it. Sometimes when I'm reading, sometimes I try to, sometimes, put yourself into that situation at a time, even though a story is being told, so if we was to take that in today's, sometimes he would probably be an example. He didn't want to be in the church, or he didn't want to be any of that, but he didn't know the ending. Like he didn't when as time was going on, he didn't know that he would be healed. Does that make sense? Yeah. He didn't know that he'd have 2 churches. He didn't know he had to, because I think in the middle part he was.
I had an experience with God. Remember, I said that God told me to go out. And then the pastors told me that I shouldn't go out at that time. And God, there was a spirit come on me that I almost hated the pastor in a 2-month period, which caused me to go out. I realized I'm out of the will of God. And then I'm a prophet, so we prophets, remember, we're prophets of God. We belong to God. So I didn't go out. When that spirit came on me, then I went. 2 months later, I just went deep back after the will of God. So I think what Jonah did, he didn't want to go. I didn't want to go out. And the pastor was real close. I was a right-hand man. But when God say do something, you do it, and there are consequences. Like you tell your children to do something, they do it, and there are consequences. And the consequences cause you to change your mind and do what was told you at the beginning. Not really forced to. You still don't have to do it. There's going to be the consequences going to get worse and worse.
See, I was in the military. They said you don't have to do it. They said, but they'll make you wish you had to deal with it. See, they'll make you wish you had to did it because of the consequences may be, severe. Okay, clay was a common commodity in the Mediterranean, and earthen vessels made of clay were strictly utilitarian, considered almost disposable. Clay jars was ordinary, relatively fragile, and of little value compared to the more beautiful and enduring bronze vessels of the day. A clay jar would be thrown away if it was flawed or became ceremonial unclean. In biblical times, people would sometimes hide their treasures in clay jars, thinking that thieves would assume that an ugly earthen jar would hold nothing of value. And with that, the question is, that was a question I wanted to bring before you. It speaks on that in our times of trial, we're not to rely on ourselves, but rely on God. I think we were speaking on, high time, suffering way and everything. And so, we talk about how, what are you giving up for God? Let's see. It says here. Let me see. It was in. I think she read it here, if I'm not mistaken. I think it says, "We are troubled on every side, yet distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed." So, what are we doing to show God that we serve Him, or what are we giving up for God? I think that's how, which is causing our suffering in a sense. What are we doing? What are we doing that we are showing God that we're serving Him? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, this is another one. This will go back to the Jonah story too. It was tithing, and we give an offering with no visible return
On our investment.
on our investment. And then there are consequences if we don't. They're in trouble with that. Things go wrong. It took me years to convince one of my brothers about tithing. And he knew that we raised, but he would constantly not tie this time up this way, this go wrong, that go wrong. And I keep every time I would tell him, I said, God gonna get his money. I said, he's gonna get more than you would if you had just given him 10% of an offering. Finally, this year he said, I really see that God gonna get his money. He said, so I'm tired. And things start going better. There are consequences for not doing what God's not making us tired for sinners don't. He didn't make us tired. But He tell us, you do this, I bless you. You do this, things will go well with you. You want to go down to Nineveh. You're going to be one of the greatest prophets ever lived. You're going to save lives of over 1 million people. I want to go to Nineveh. I know you're Muslim. I know you're not going to do it. I didn't ask you if you want to go. These are sinful people. I know God. They're going to repent. They're going to turn from their wicked ways. They're going to become saints. But somebody have to preach to them. I want you to go. I don't want to go. Okay. Consequences get you. Jonah had the message. I have a message. That's the promise of God. But he said, we want you to speak to us. There's a message that I have now that God is going to put in me, that He wants me at a particular time to speak on that we have, or that God had me have. So that's Jonah. Because he got another prophet, but Jonah had the message.
Okay. So that's something that there is a sacrifice. It says that God will use weak men in order to show His strength. Yes, sir.
So what's your thoughts, Pastor, on when God asked Moses to do what he did? Moses didn't want to do it. Right. Moses said he's stuck. He said he gave God so many, he gave God a few excuses on why he didn't want to do it.
Definitely don't want to do it.
They don't want to do it. No, none of them want to do it.
I had to go to my bishop. Yeah, him. God said, if you don't repent and humble yourself, we're going to move you out of that position. I want to do that. This is my bishop. I'm under him. But I went before the consequences set in.
Let me ask you this then. So you knew, like you knew, because it was harder in your heart. But did Moses know? Did John know? They didn't know.
I didn't know Holy Hill was going to come out of black. I didn't know Holy Hill was coming out of it. I just went out. This is God knew, but I didn't know.
Oh, Pastor, I have a question.
The light really
Huh?
the light had it.
I was going to say, like, you know, it all boils down to faith at the end of the day, because you step out not knowing what, you know, it's like I saw the analogy where they had a ladder and they were saying each time the person raised up, then the rung for the ladder appeared for them to hold on. But they're reaching for nothing, but something came when they needed it. So when you have the faith, you gotta, you know, when you're I'm trying to say is yes, what you need is going to do that, and plus when you're following what God's plan is for you, then you're going right. So you don't have to worry about things on the sides when you don't do it. That you're worried, oh boy, you know what's going to come now because I didn't follow God's will. So I think with Jonah, you know, him not following God's will, there's a consequence, as you said.
And that's what she said now with Jonah. Think of what God said. In 40 days, I'm going to destroy this city. You know, in 40 days, I'm going to destroy it. So, Jonah, you want me to destroy this city, what will be your people? So I'm giving you a message to them, but you want me to destroy them. Are you right?
Pastor, got a question. I got something I'm interested in knowing the answer to. You had said earlier that we was talking about Job. I think it was. You were saying how God spoke to Job because Job was self-righteous. Correct?
Yeah, he spoke.
Okay. Now my question: when Job was telling God the things that he had done, I think it was something to the effect of he's righteous, he serves him.
Yeah.
My question is that was he wrong?
He's wrong because when you tell God what you did and that this shouldn't be happening to me because I did all this and did all that, then you're telling God you're wrong.
Okay, so he was telling God he was wrong.
Right. His word was telling God you wrong. I feed the widows, I take care of the dead, the child, the fatherless.
So he was a righteous man in God's sight.
He was a righteous man in God's sight, but his self-righteousness showed up. See, he was righteous, but when he talking to his friend, self-righteousness showed up. And self-righteousness, you're condemning God for yourself. I this and I that. You're saying I did it, God didn't, I did. So you're condemning God when you're self-righteous.
Okay. All right. If I could get someone to read the introduction called weekly. Yeah.
Paul's weakness. Paul's opponents accused him of not acting or preaching like a true apostle, that he was weak, unauthoritative, and didn't possess the oracle skills of some of the false teachers of the day. In addition, these false teachers accused Paul of misusing funds, implying that because he had to change his planned visit to Corinthian church, he could not be trusted to keep his word. Paul countered that accusation by reminding the Corinthians that God has miraculously intervened in his life and chose him as an apostle. He also urged the Corinthian believers to remember his demeanor and behavior while he lived and worked among them. He freely admitted that he was not a polished orator but reminded the church that his knowledge of the gospel and his personal integrity was more important than natural deliberate speech. Corinthians. Paul also reiterated that his humble demeanor was modeled after Jesus. Jesus' example, and that Christ's power was more clearly seen because of Paul's weaknesses.
So thank you. So again, we spoke earlier about God will use weak men in order to show His strength, and that's what Paul was referring to when he was saying how that his humble that Paul also reiterated that his humble demeanor was modeled after Jesus' example. And, that's what Paul was trying to get across to his detractors that, when he lived in amongst them, then he had a humble he wasn't a very good speaker. So therefore, he wasn't as good a speaker as they say as the false teachers of that day. Okay.
But through that, you know, God said, "And weakness is my strength."
Right. That's correct. Yeah.
That's why you weak men. That's why you Moses with a rod, instead of an army. And you weakness to show it. Really demonstrate I'm God.
Yeah.
It like not Paul, but Peter and James, when they went to the gate called Beautiful, he told the man, "We don't have any money to get up and walk." And then he said, "Why y'all looking on us as we did this of our own power?" It's God, Jesus. So he used men to show him. He used men to show him.
Now, didn't he also use Aaron?
Aaron, all he called him Moses. His excuses. It wasn't intended for him to use Aaron, but God don't kill your excuses. He used the whale for Jonah. He used Aaron for Moses. He don't kill your excuses.
And what better way to get your point across from somebody that's say weak?
Yeah,
Right.
Better way.
like David was.
Stutter regarding God. So that's the man point of view. God, it came out you stuttering. That didn't show more of my power.
But sometimes when I read, I have books in the Bible that I like, but I was fond of David. I was really fond of David. David wasn't weak. David, when David was young, he was strong. To look after the sheep, and if you lose one, he find that sheep as if it was, he was kind of, even at a young age, he had it out here.
I think against Goliath.
And he
He was a warrior.
He was strong. So I like David. I really like David. David's like, and then he became, his relationship, and I'll say that too, his relationship with God was really personal. So, and so that's that. And then my other statement is, I learned to step back because all of us have a relationship with God, and I don't know your relationship with God, so I don't really, whatever you do, I don't, quote, judge or whatnot, because our relationship, Jonah's relationship with God, David, Job, all those relationships with God is what it is.
Gideon epitomized this. Because the angel appeared to Gideon and said, "Hail, thou mighty man of valor." Gideon was like, who the world you talking to? God is with us. Then why this and why that? We're in a bad shape. You calling me a man of valor? It's Moses. God said, "Go down there. You go to Pharaoh. Me." The Pharaoh wanted to kill me, but they did. They wanted to kill you, but still, Pharaoh, the most powerful man on the face of the earth, And I'm gonna go up there and me, no sir, no. I can't speak with him. If it hasn't been speaking, you're gonna try to come up with some other excuse.
I got a question. So how do you think Enoch's relationship with God?
His relationship perfect.
How could it have been perfect though?
Enoch's
But
Not that he was flawless.
okay.
But it wasn't many men on the earth. God communicated with Enoch. He found something like David. He found favor with God. So I like the way this man talks. So come on up here. Like that.
So you think he got him? So you think he's got him stashed away for? Some people think that Enoch and I forgot the other one. Like is going to be the two witnesses in the last days.
I don't know. I think that I don't know about Enoch, but remember, one of the man wants to die. Elijah died in the person of John Baptist. But Enoch, we had seen him die, so he may be one of that.
Well, what about Melchizedek?
Melchizedek was an angel. Like he said, no beginning of the day, no end of the day, no mother, no father. So he was an angel. But Enoch was a man.
So was Elijah, right?
Yes.
Elisha.
Elijah. Elijah, I'm saying, when they said Elijah was first come, Jesus said he did. The first of John Baptist. If you can receive it. It's taken out of their years before John Baptist. So they could see it. But when you read in Kings the description of Elijah, when you read in the New Testament the description of John Baptist, they identical. Harry, letter of girdle, wild honey, locusts and wild honey, they identical. Because he was Elijah come back. Remember, we're a spirit. The flesh perished, but the spirit remains. So Elijah's spirit came back in the person of John Baptist, because he had to die.
Oh. Yes, ma'am.
Enoch may be one of them. Because when he said, "Pointed at the man wants to die," I mean, all men have to die, and Enoch didn't. So,
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
And I was thinking that, what better example than to use somebody who everyone considers to be weak
yes.
to show the strength. Because if you use a strong man, and then strong men they have attitude, they think they got it because they're strong. So it's easier to get the example from somebody who everyone considers to be weak, and seeing them doing those things. That's the perfect parallel to see. Wow, this meek and mild person, but the strong person everybody expects. So it's seeing that contrast, and I can see why when someone gets saved who was really deep in it, bad, and used to do stuff, is more of a example to people than somebody who was good. Because then you could see someone being good, who you consider good, getting saved and changing. But when you see someone who was deep down in it and they get saved, everyone's like, wow, I cannot. That's a testament in itself. So.
And with Gideon, when he called for the people, he had 47,000. God said, "That's too many." When he reduced it, he said 10,000. He just still too many, because he said they were saved. They did it.
Yeah.
Even though they're going up against an army of 200,000. That's what Sister Maxine was saying. They would say, "We did it." So he would put it down to 300 against 100,000. I know at least. So in no way you gonna say we did this. That God was with us. But matter of fact, they didn't do nothing but stand there and work some lanterns, shout and blow the horn.
Okay.
He must be glorified.
Okay. Paul said that he always carried around or bore in his physical body the death of Jesus Christ, not forgetting the sacrifice that he made. Paul had learned to die daily to his flesh, so Jesus' resurrection power could be revealed in him. Now, a question I have here is, I'm getting close to time, but the question I have is, why is the gospel hid to them that are lost?
Why is it here?
Why is the gospel? Why can people that we go back to the predestination? why do people that's destined to be lost, the gospel is hid from them?
God knows, and the persons that get saved, they had some good in them already before they got saved. And when it was preached to them, you accepted it. It was preached to you. And you heard it. You learned of it. And you accepted it. Well, the gospel is preached to everybody. And everybody is preached to. They don't accept it. So their minds are darkened because they're some, even that accepted it, they don't get it because the love of the world, the love of the flesh, pride of life, money, this. They prefer those things more than God. So they miss out.
So do you think the people over in North Korea has heard the gospel of Christ?
Yeah. Maybe not the ones that's there now. But
Okay.
remember now.
But
Paul-
the gospel must be preached to everyone.
Okay, read Colossians 1 and 23.
Okay.
Now, I'll tell you what it says.
Okay.
This gospel has been preached to every creature. Has been. So that's what the people allowed that governments to turn against God. And just like Jeroboam, when he broke away from Rehoboam, and they created some golden calves and told the people, this is your God, and they started worshiping those gods. They had the opportunity, but they chose to follow their leaders. So Russia, all the atheist countries, they back there, they heard the gospel. They allowed their leaders to train them against it. And the gospel is going forth on the internet and everywhere else. There are people in every country that are being saved.
Okay. So because right now, I mean, it's just so much. It's just so like, especially in India. In India, I think it's Hinduism is the main religion there. But yeah, it's the fact of the matter that there are so many billions of people that are not.
China.
Huh?
China.
That's correct.
Billions.
Yes.
Yeah.
So so again, I just asked the question: is why is the gospel hid to them that are lost?
Remember when Jesus was a baby? Wise men came from the east, right? They came from India, China, Iran, Iraq, right? We don't know where they came from, but they came from the east. They knew that the Savior, right, came to the Jews, and they knew what the Jews was all about. So you accept it or reject it. And your leaders, if we follow a certain leader, will turn us against Christ. And the people believing in the leader so now, don't think that it's your children's children that they will turn. They're not you, but your children's children. All they got to do, they took the crowd to school. See how we not as religious as we used to be. Bibles, it's hard to find. They're closed. They go online to find one, but the young folks not interested in it. They're going online looking for a Bible, especially the children's children. So they can turn you. And these people that you're looking at today, well, that progenitors way back when, they had the opportunity to accept. They born Thomas in Egypt, in India. They born Thomas. They born because he come and preach the gospel. They didn't want him.
Okay.
It's like they killed him. We don't want that.
So what you're saying is that people are destined to be lost?
You know what I'm saying? People choose.
Okay, so
Choose ye this day, what Joshua told the people. People choose. They don't know they're being lost. They think that they have God. You trying to have them change to another God. And even God said in Ezekiel, he said, go and search. He said, any people ever change their God. He made a point to Israel because they changed their God. It's not worshiping other things. No people change their God. As Jesus came. People get saved. Hindu still Hindu. Muslim still Muslim. Buddha still Buddha. They'll change.
Now, is that what make the United States such a huge melting pot of so many different religions?
Religion here.
Huh?
You would be in the religion here.
Right. So that's what makes the America such a huge place, right?
That's make us Babylon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what does that make India and China and Russia?
They're just heathens.
The what?
I can't say this too loud. I said they're just heathens.
Oh,
You know, like Bible talk about the heathens. You know, the heathens. They're just heathens. You know, so if they don't accept Christ, the heathens can't be saved.
all right. Okay. Well, hopefully, this morning we got some good information, something that we can build upon in our life journey. Does anyone have any questions or comments at this time? No one has any?
I do.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm looking. Church of God in Christ, and I know it was a holy church. It was a holy, holy church. All other Pentecostal churches, they come basically from Church of God in Christ. And we here. And I'm looking at where we were and where we are. And where we are, and where we were to where we are is telling us where we're going. Right now, it's not like we're a holy church, and talking, foot stomping, all like that. People coming in, getting healed, crutches on the wall, pushing the wheelchairs out, things like that, because we were holy, right? But now, it's more Hollywood. It's spoken of. Come to this revival. God gonna be healed, the sick gonna get well, this gonna happen, and that gonna happen. They're pre-telling you what God is going to do, which you cannot do. See, so what's gonna happen? Churches didn't exist in 100 years. What's going to happen if another 100 years is in? What would this church be like then? You know, church is just some people go around. It's like a club. You know, they just go to, they feel good when they go to church, and they just go and they get around people, you know, and they know guns and nothing, you know, like a lot that we done. But they, you know, it's just, it's sad.
As well. So I was talking to my senior managers about, you know, my church and what I do and how we do. But I was speaking to it to keep their attention. You know, I was speaking to it to keep their attention, but I still kept it Church of God in Christ, you know, in its purity. But I was conveying to them to where I want them to respond back to me, right? So one of my managers said, I go to church, I agree with it. You know, I agree with what you're saying. I just don't see, he said, I just don't see, you know, so for me is what I do is, you know, when I get up, you know, I don't pray like he said, but I don't do that. But, you know, throughout the week, and he did this, he said, throughout the week, I just, and so if I watch whatever I watch on television, or if I do happen to go to church with, you know, my better half or whatnot, I just check the box like I did that already. Now I just move on. So, and he is, you know, he's in his 30s, or he's in his late 30s, whatever. So, and I, when he said that, I was just, you know, kind of, wow, you know, so just check the box off like I did that. Now I'm moving on. And so the pastor was talking about, you know, moving forward and what we see. As far as the Church of God in Christ, where the church is doing is going. That's what he said. He just checked it off like I'm good with that, so move on to the next. You know,
Okay, yes, sir.
Something that happened here. 2 girls, twins, had a hard life. Mama in prison, grandmama raised them for this, that, and the other. They live right down the street. They came here. They got saved. They loved the church. They didn't see a way forward towards their future. They would come here. They would ask me if they could do shut-in. They would come here, just the 2 of them. They would do shut-in. God would bless. One of them got the Bill Gates scholarship with Timothy. The other one didn't. And the other one was upset. And I said, well, you'll make it. I said it was more important that she got that scholarship than you, because you're more precious, you're making it. Okay, one got the scholarship. She's a lesbian. The other one got a free ride to fish in Nashville, Tennessee. Now she says, there's more way to help than through Jesus. We want our children to get an education, but look at what they're exposed to. If we can send them to religious colleges, it would be a lot better. But we want them to be able to live in this life, and look what happens.